Hey, Coach, I guess I'd ask you, what's been the area emphasis this week?
The area of emphasis,
Yes, sir.
physical contact, toughness, execution, the same area of focus every week in football, right? You got to out block, out tackle, out compete. It really hasn't been a unique circumstance because, we have a normal protocol we go through. Monday, we practice. Tuesday was a get after it day, and we got after it. Kids had great energy. They're excited. They got a lot of respect for Arkansas. And the same areas, we got to be explosive and not give up explosives. And we got to create turnovers and not turn it over. So not a lot of different ways to say that.
Coach, hey, about Darnell and Taki, how are they looking 2 days in this week?
Both up and down. They both practiced both days. I thought Taki looked better on Monday. He was quick moving around, and we got him on pitch count. They're only able to take limited reps from a standpoint of their foot gets sore as the volume goes up. Darnell struggled a little bit yesterday, but then he looked good today. I thought he did a good job today. And, both of them they've got a ways to go. I don't know if they'll be able to play in the game or not, but they're working towards it. I can promise you that. It's not just being cleared, it's everything else involved in it. It's from being behind, stamina, execution, getting them reps, and it's tough, I'll be honest with you, but I'm still very hopeful that they both can help us.
Let's go to Mark Weiser and then to Dean Legge.
Kirby, I want to ask you, do you think you know what you're going to get schematically from Barry Odom's defense, or is it more unpredictable than most that you go against?
Well, they've been able to change. They've had some different kinds of opponents this year. They've had, Rice. They've had Georgia Southern, which was, a little more option traditional stuff. And then they've had Texas and Texas A&M. So they have multiple packages they can do. Clemson had the same options. So, some of what they do is similar to us, and some of what they do is not. So you have to prepare for more things when you play somebody like that. He does a really good job, of being able to change it up and be multiple.
Kirby, and on Saturday, 8 of your most 17 games will have been with Georgia in the top 10 facing a top 10 opponent. 8 of 17. What's that say about your program, and what kind of difficulties does that bring?
8 of the last 17? Is that what you're saying?
Of the most recent 17, that goes back to LSU 19. So it's not all, in one season, obviously, but 8 of 17.
It probably says most about our conference, I guess. And I know not all those are conference games because there's probably some bowl games mixed in there. But, that's where Georgia should be, right? It should be playing in marquee games, marquee matchups to be two. And a lot of good football. There's a lot of good football teams we play against, and a lot of good opportunities. But I like that. It's the prep of the week is a lot more focus, a lot more energy around the game. Of course, I feel like every SEC game's that way, whether it's top 10 or not. But it's great. I like it.
Okay, Seth Emerson and then Jake Rowe.
Kirby, lots been made about Jordan Davis was kind of overlooked except by you guys, and you guys saw something in him. We're seeing that also, I think, with guys like Ladd McConkey and A.D. Mitchell and some other guys, that it's not so much that you got under recruited guys and developed them, but they come in and they play earlier than people expect. Does that speak to how much you guys trust your own scouting and evaluation versus what others may think?
I guess the answer to that would be yes. I don't know how other organizations do it, so it's hard to compare. I do know how we do it. And I don't think any college coach would tell you they make decisions based on what the rankings and the recruiting rankings say. I really don't think a college coach would say that. I think they do it based on the evaluation they see on tape. And that's what we do, because I really have found that if you go off camp, it's a hell of a lot better accuracy than any ranking or anything, even the tape you see in high school. We didn't love A.D. Mitchell's high school tape, and we were like, man, I got question marks. But we loved him in camp. and we loved his COVID workouts that he did. And I get a lot more accuracy with information. Like, to me, information removes errors. And we're in a game of not making mistakes, right? We're trying to get the right kind of kids. I'm talking about mentally and physically. And we go through a lot of evaluation. I don't think, and I don't know this for certain, but I don't think a lot of teams do the evaluation process as deep as others. Some people fall in love with a player because of a play, and then they just go recruit them. But we don't do that here. We watch a lot of tape, and I'm on my coaches all the time that, hey, the tape and the camp is going to speak volumes to who they are. Trust your evaluation. And we worry about the ones we get, not the ones we don't. And it's helped us. Now, we've been wrong. We've made mistakes as much as anybody, but I do think that character matters more now than ever. And, guys like Ladd, they do a tremendous job and have speed. And I'm like, shoot, man, why would this guy not be a good player? He is.
Kirby, you mentioned yesterday about Barry Odom doing a good job of making teams offenses kind of play left-handed. How hard do you guys work on that, both sides of the ball, making defenses, making offenses play left-handed? How big of a factor is that when you guys are game planning for an opponent, just making sure that they do something maybe they're not comfortable doing?
Well, we try to defensively. I don't know I don't know that we're as good at it as Barry and those guys, because Barry and them come at you kind of very different schematically. We're probably, I would say, closer to the norm in terms of our league, and Barry and them are not. They're a extremely tough prep because of the way they play. It's just different. I can't explain it to you. You have to watch the tape. Their kids play extremely hard, extremely physical. The strain is enormous, and if you don't match their strain, you're going to have a frustrating day. And I got a lot of respect for the way they play. But we try to force people to our big thing is stopping the run, and that's always been an MO of ours. We've just been able to affect the passer a little better this year. These guys run the ball really well, and Coach Pittman is very involved in that, and Coach Briles does a good job of that. So offensively, we obviously try to dictate with some tempo, and we try to dictate with our playmakers' ability, getting the ball to our playmakers. But I can't say that we make people play left-handed as much as they do.
All right, how about Vance Levy and then to Palmer Toms?
Kirby, with the way their defense drops so many players, how important is JT to really exercise a lot of patience out there on Saturday?
Well, everybody says they drop a lot of players. Those same players are the ones tackling people in the backfield. So they don't always drop them. They're aggressive. They know in order to stop the run, they've got to be great eye control, great run pass readers. They're right a lot. Like their kids understand the game. They trigger on runs, and they're really elite at beating blocks. They run guys to the ball. So it's not like they're out there just dropping on air, giving you all kinds of opportunities. They can suffocate you with the way they play defense, and they do a really good job. But yeah, JT's got to do a great job of making good decisions. And that's what they forced the quarterbacks they beat into poor decisions. They force them into bad decisions.
Kirby, for a while, you said that Kyrus wasn't 100% and that he was playing through, a little bit of an injury. Would you say that he's 100% now? And what's impressed you about his return to the field?
No, he is not 100%. As a matter of fact, he's been struggling this week some. So, I felt like he got back, I don't know what he was last week, 90-95 in the Vanderbilt game. He was out there playing, made a couple plays, and it's bothered him some this week. So he's been hindered some, and he's practicing. I think he's going to be good to go, but he's a little banged up. But Kyrus is tough. He loves the game. He wants to get out there, and if anything with Kyrus, you got to hold him back because he'll go out there injured.
Hey, let's go to Brandon Sudge and then to Tyler Griffith.
Hey, Kirby, kind of following up on Ty Key here, kind of a two-parter, but first off, taking the injury out of it, how has Latavius kind of made that tough going into spring practice when you guys were trying to figure out that star spot who would win the job? And then secondly, with being able to land Taki out of the transfer portal, can you kind of speak to how that happened and the things that he brings as a defensive back.
Yeah, Taki brings experience. He played star position at West Virginia, and he played with Coach Adai, and he did a great job playing there. So once he went in the portal, we felt like, that was a perfect addition for us because, number one, he had playing experience. He's a good tackler. He was going to make our team better, and he's done that. Unfortunately, the injury has put him behind some, and we felt good about Brenny. We felt like Brenny played well in the Cincinnati game. He's been around our defense for a long time. He practices really hard. He's gotten more confidence through the spring and through these games we played. So they're both really good players and great people. And we're hopeful to get Taki back soon.
Hey, what kind of problems does a big physical receiver like Treylon Burks give to y'all's defense?
Well, he's a tough matchup. Because, first of all, they put him everywhere. He's in the backfield. He's at quarterback. He's at receiver. He's at slot. He's a tight end. He does everything. They find ways to get him the ball, and he's fast. He's faster than you think he is. He gets out there on the edge and can go, and really tough. So, obviously when it comes to 50-50 ball, size matters, and he's got great length and really good ball skills. So, he was a problem for us last year. He's been a problem for the SEC for a while, and he's a really good football player.
Let's go to Connor Riley and then to Jed May.
Hey, Kirby, how has Jalen Carter grown as a player now, being in his second year, and what kind of progressions has he made as he continues to try to become a better player?
He's more confident in the system, I think, more confident in his ability. Obviously, he's taking more reps, so he understands the defense better, but he's playing quicker to me. There was a time where he got a little heavy towards the end of last year, and he's really quick now. He's athletic. He can move and disengage blockers, really powerful. This guy was a really good basketball player, could dunk and do things, and he plays with power when he strikes people. So we're excited about the way he's playing. He's gotten better and grown as a player, and he's got two great role models there in Jordan and Devontae.
Kirby, you talked a little bit about Latavius Brini a minute ago. He's a guy that, when he first got here, he struggled with some off the field type stuff. Just how has he grown in terms of being a leader, getting past all that stuff? And how important is it to have a guy like that to sort of be a role model to some of these younger guys that may struggle maybe with some of the same stuff?
He's been a pleasure to work with the whole time. He's never truly been a problem. He's a guy that goes to class, does what he's supposed to do, has discipline, fun to coach, appreciates hard coaching. He's one of the guys that's come up to me before and thanked me and said, "Coach, I really appreciate how hard you push me and how hard you coach me." And not everybody feels that way, and it makes me respect how far he's come. And he's a great young man, and he's gotten better from being here, and he's a good role model for our players. He's a true example of, if you work hard and you learn the defense and you get better, that you'll get your opportunity. And he's done that.
We'll come back. Davis Baker, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. Coach, when prepping for KJ Jefferson, obviously a big athletic quarterback, does it help that you've seen, DJ from Clemson, who's similar in stature to him? Does that help your defense prepare?
Yeah, it probably helps in terms of wrapping up and finishing, because you don't ever get to practice tackling somebody that big, but he's a little different. DJ was not trying to run the ball, and they didn't really try to quarterback run him much, where KJ does do that. And KJ's a more physical downhill runner. And he throws the ball really well too. He's got an extremely strong arm, but he's a true running back runner. He can do those things, and I don't think DJ that wasn't what he was. But in the pocket, it probably helps that we had to tackle a guy that big.
We've got time for two more questions. We'll open up. Anyone has a follow up? Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I was asking about Robert Bill, kind of the same question Jay just asked about Latavius. Had a little issue a couple years ago, but didn't play a lot the last 2 years. But he's really, kind of was in the transfer portal, but he's really come back and playing good for you this season.
No, Bill's grown up a lot. He's playing good football to us. We think he's done a good job. He's a kid that's worked really hard. He's had some injuries. He's been banged up some, and just to think how long he's been here and really what he's been through. Just a tremendous kid. and very thankful of the growth he's made. He's really helped our team on special teams. And I think of all the reps he's taken in practice on those scout kickoff and scout punt return units. And now he's out there doing them, and he's helping us on third down. And he's really physical. He gives us something an outside backer that some of the other guys don't get.
Kirby, what is there one thing that you would credit Coach Pittman with as far as what you learned the most from him when he was on your staff?
Yeah, it's probably morale and positivity. You know, Sam's a really, really optimistic, positive guy, especially with his players and his relationship with them. He was always good for me to be around leading up to games, you know, or you're worried about something. Sam always had a great spin and a great vibe on it. And he was great for our staff, you know, staff morale. And he's just a phenomenal person. And I'd always heard so many good things about him as a coach at Alabama. And, you know, we tried to hire him a couple of times and could never get him. And then when I got the job, he was the #1 guy that I targeted, and was so thankful that he came with us.